Let's talk about extreme weather in the South, because what you're seeing here behind me is proof positive that a lot of Americans are cold today. In fact, Americans are in a deep freeze after what's known as a bomb cyclone storm brought this heavy snow all throughout the Southeast. Even freezing temperatures felt as far south as Miami. In fact, take a look at this. This is a beach home in Buxton, North Carolina, caught on camera bobbing around in an ocean. Powerful storm caused that home to just float away. Nor'easter is what they call it. It led near blizzard conditions in both Carolinas and parts of Virginia. So let's go live to CBS News correspondent Dave Malkoff in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, Dave, I see you didn't put your snowsuit away.
Yeah, didn't we just do this? I feel
we just did this.
We just did this. Yes, and this was last week, and we were talking about the hail and the ice that came down, and then the city had to go through this all over again. And look what happened. Because of all the ice, there's a big shopping center and hotel. They had to completely cut off this staircase right here, Reed. They didn't want people slipping on the ice throughout here. The buses are now running, the trains are now running, but they weren't running for this weekend, and that caused problems at the airport where they had lots of delays. We also had a pileup on I-85 outside of town where few cars crashed, and then they couldn't get anywhere, so they had this huge line of cars that were just abandoned there. Reed, they had to call out not just the state police, but they had to call out the National Guard to get people from their cars into somewhere where it was warm and kind of abandon those cars there for a while. That's all cleaned up now.
Well, when we see it so cold there and we see you standing there in the snow, we obviously want to know about public utilities. What about heat? What about electricity after the storm?
Yeah, the electricity has been a big problem, not just here, but also west of here, where we have the areas that went through Hurricane Helene. We also had the areas in Mississippi and Tennessee that still have thousands of people without power right now. So they're trying to get the power on for those folks, but it was almost like a winter hurricane that came through there. Some trees came down into houses. The ice built up on the power lines, and that's what cut off power to some of those people. And that was last week's event, and they're still working to get the power on right now. But as you saw, that house came down in Buxton on the Outer Banks. Those are homes that have been long since abandoned out on the Outer Banks, but they are sitting there. And as soon as a hurricane, a tropical storm, or something like this, a winter storm comes through, that is enough to undermine the pilings that keep those houses up, and they just go right into the ocean. There are several of those left, but it's crazy to see that happen in a sunny spot like the Outer Banks, but also it's crazy to see flurries down in Tampa, and that's what we saw this weekend.
Yeah, pretty crazy. I even talked to some friends in South Florida who said, what is happening here? All right, a real cold king of a guy in the Queen City. That's Dave Malkoff reporting live. Thank you, as always, Dave. Good to see you, my friend. So let's talk about what Dave is showing us there with Zoe Mintz.
Lots of snow to talk about. I'm pretty jealous. My first ever market was Eastern North Carolina.
That's
back
beautiful.
in WNCT. Beautiful. I wish we got that much snow when I lived there and I got to forecast for it, but I could talk about it right now, at least on a national stage. Got a foot of snow across parts of Eastern North Carolina, and snow on the beach. You could go sledding on the beach. That looked like so much fun, and that snow is sticking around for quite a while, as there's going to be freezing temperatures for the next couple of days. It's this Arctic chill, those areas in purple and blue. That's literally air from the Arctic, but it extends all the way down to Florida. So like Reed was talking about his friends saying, what's up with all the cold down in Miami? Well, from West Palm Beach all the way to Key West, Florida, today's high temperatures are record cold. 58 in West Palm Beach, 60 degrees in Key West. Doesn't seem cold, but for them, that is well below average. And overnight tonight, that bitter chill is going to overtake the entire East Coast and the entire state of Florida, which is why basically the entire state is under a freeze warning or a frost advisory, as even down to southern Georgia, temperatures could get to 27 to 32 degrees. That is frigid. Cover any plants. If you have any outdoor pipes, keep that in mind. Keep those water dripping overnight, because it is going to be a chilly one. There's also going to be widespread rain across the area by as soon as the midweek. So the fact that we're dealing with rain means temperatures aren't going to stay below freezing for long. So let's break down exactly what we can expect over the next several days. Again, again, relatively quiet, a little bit of snow over the Great Lakes right now. A little bit of rain is going to develop over parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas. That rain will get more widespread over the Mississippi Valley throughout the day on Tuesday as a little bit of snow sets up over the Ohio River Valley by Tuesday afternoon. It's not going to be a whole lot of snow, though. It's really going to be the rain, the biggest impact from the system, and a nice wetting rainfall across a lot of the southeast. Maybe a little bit of additional snow across northern parts of North Carolina. Not a whole lot of snow, not an additional foot, but hey, it just lets you know that on the northern edge of the system, it is very cold. On the southern edge, though, it is not going to be freezing. That's why anywhere from a half of an inch to an inch of rain is likely. And for those of us in drought across the southeast, that is fantastic news. Rain is great this time of year, and the fact that it's rain and not snow, so that means we won't be dealing with the freezing temperatures for very much longer. Back to you, Reed.
All right, Zoe, thank you so much.